What's up, guys? Mickle here, and the SEC has lost two massive crypto cases over the past couple months. First of all, obviously, they lost the Ripple case where XRP was deemed not a security, but just recently, they also lost a Grayscale case, and now Grayscale is likely going to be able to convert their Grayscale product to a Bitcoin spot ETF. Well, in this video, I want to go over another massive case the SEC is just about to lose, because this is going to be absolutely critical in bringing new money into the cryptocurrency industry. We have been stuck in a prolonged bear market for a while now, but at the end of the day, the only thing we really need now is a catalyst to set us back on a trajectory to all-time highs. In this video, I want to paint a picture for you what that catalyst is going to be, because it's really going to let you guys know how close we are to really rallying out of this depression we have been in a couple months now. Like always, your support means so much to this channel. If you enjoyed these videos, make sure to take a quick second to like this video and subscribe to my channel. It's really going to help me out so much. Also, if you ever need a good place to buy some XRP or the Flare token, make sure to check out my favorite exchange Uphold down in the description of this video. With that said, though, let's jump right into it, and I hope you guys enjoyed the content. So like I said in the intro, the SEC has been taking a lot of losses in court recently to these cryptocurrency companies, and at the end of the day, the SEC is the agency, it's the branch of the government that's really been trying to put its brakes on the cryptocurrency industry. We know that traditional financial firms are terrified of the SEC. If the SEC says don't touch this, they won't touch that, because the SEC is an agency with unlimited funding and will just drag you through a lawsuit to punish you. No one in the traditional financial market wants to go through that, and because of that, when they see all the turmoil going on with the SEC going after all these different cryptocurrency companies, they stay away, they pull out their money, and they don't touch the industry until they know it's safe. So a lot of what we saw, and a lot of the reason we are having such a hard time gaining momentum in the cryptocurrency industry right now is mainly because all the big money is terrified to touch this stuff. They see the SEC cracking down left and right, and they simply cannot afford to be a part of it. These massive financial firms have so many different ways to make money and so many different ways to generate profit. They're not going to touch an industry until they know it's safe, and I think that's a slept-on reason why a lot of these institutions have been staying out of the market, and the real reason we haven't seen a rally in a lot of cryptocurrency prices. Well, I want to go over another case the SEC is about to lose that I think is going to have a massive impact on sentiment in the market, and is by far one of the most important cases when it comes to institutions understanding that cryptocurrencies are here to stay. Obviously, I personally think the Ripple versus SEC case was the most important case, but I want to paint another picture for you and show you why this other case is actually really significant. Now, the case I am talking about right now is actually the Coinbase versus SEC case, and you might be wondering, why is this case so important? And it's simply because it's one of the few institutional cryptocurrency names that Wall Street actually knows. The only reason Wall Street knows this name is because they IPO'd, and for them, it's the most obvious cryptocurrency play. A lot of Wall Street is watching this case right now and wondering, hey, is this cryptocurrency company actually going to be able to prevail against the SEC, and how legitimate is the SEC's claims against the cryptocurrency industry? If they see Coinbase win this case big, they are going to understand that a lot of what the SEC has been saying over the past couple years really hasn't had any bite to it. So now I want to get into exactly why I know Coinbase is going to win this case big and why it's so big for the entire cryptocurrency industry. And it actually starts at a pretty interesting place, because what I'm going to read you doesn't actually have anything to do with Coinbase, but actually has to do with Uniswap. So what happened with Uniswap is Uniswap actually got sued by a group of investors. It was a class action case saying that Uniswap shouldn't have listed certain cryptocurrencies. Well, Uniswap actually came back and said, well, we don't actually choose what gets listed. It's a decentralized platform. So obviously right here, you have a pretty interesting setup. You have a court determining how decentralized Uniswap actually is. And what we found out is the court fully agreed with Uniswap. The court declines to stretch the federal securities laws to cover the conduct alleged, and concludes the plaintiff's concerns are better addressed to Congress than to this court. The court went on to say, due to the protocol's decentralized natures, there are no identifiable defendants. So this is pretty interesting, because right here we see the court is pretty much saying, okay, Uniswap did not list securities. This is not up for a court to make a determination on, but most importantly, this platform is decentralized, and therefore we don't have anyone to actually go after for this class action. So you might be wondering, how does this have to do with Coinbase and the SEC? Well, this same judge who is making the Uniswap decision is also the judge in the Coinbase versus SEC case. So what do we learn from this? We learn that this court understands cryptocurrencies. We also learn that this court is very pro-cryptocurrency, meaning that the SEC is going to have a massive uphill battle in beating Coinbase. What we see is this judge was fully ready to say there is no way these cryptocurrencies are securities. Now, obviously, that wasn't really at play in this case, but I have a feeling this judge is going to be willing to make that stretch in the Coinbase case, and that is going to be a huge issue for the SEC. The SEC is getting courts that care more about the law than the SEC's obscure positions. One of the biggest risks, and I've said this multiple times, was that these courts were going to blindly agree with the SEC because they're a federal regulator. But what we see is these courts do not give a you-know-what about the SEC and instead are siding with the law. The Wolf of Wall Street tweeted out, "It turns out the United States has an honest and legitimate legal system and that our regulators have to abide by the law, whether they like it or not." And I tweeted out in response to that, I was pleasantly surprised by this. Like I said, I had no idea how courts were going to react to cryptocurrencies. I was worried they were going to be scared to take a stand against these regulators because cryptocurrencies are just such a new asset class. I wasn't sure if they would have the you-know-what to stand up against these regulators. But what we're seeing is they are absolutely handing it to the SEC, and if the SEC takes a loss to Coinbase, that is going to be absolutely devastating for the SEC. The SEC cannot afford many more losses in these cases, and the reason they cannot afford to do that is because pretty soon people are going to understand, especially Wall Street and the big money, that the SEC doesn't actually have any ground to stand on. When this finally hits these institutions, they are going to start funneling back into this ecosystem in a very big way. Right now, we see that the SEC hasn't been able to prove any of their claims. These claims are the same thing that has kept big money out. But once big money understands that the SEC can't prove these claims because they're factually wrong, that's when they come rushing back into the industry. And another big thing that's right around the corner that is also going to really help these institutions know about Ripple and XRP is the Ripple IPO. Like I said, a lot of Wall Street simply doesn't care about cryptocurrency until these companies come onto the public market. That's simply how these institutions work. But what we're seeing is that Ripple could be right around the corner from an IPO. There's a lot of different charts coming out now that, according to PitchBook, which has analyzed over 64,000 successful IPOs over the last couple years, is actually saying that Ripple right now has a 98% chance of IPOing in the near future. Now, this is very exciting because, like I said, this is going to put so much more attention on Ripple and XRP. Every single day, CNBC is going to be talking about Ripple. All these different investors who'd never heard about Ripple, never heard about XRP, are suddenly going to have exposure to the asset. This is going to be a game changer for Ripple going forward, and I really do think is going to have a massive impact on the price of XRP. It's so important to look at stuff like this because this is the kind of stuff that people simply aren't talking about. So many people in the cryptocurrency industry talk about 4-year cycles and how cryptocurrencies are going to go up simply because they magically go up in these waves. But that's just not a theory I subscribe to. I really believe that the biggest reason we haven't seen cryptocurrencies moving is simply because the big money is scared to get in. At the end of the day, it's not people like you and I that move these blue chip cryptocurrencies. It's simply not how it works. We've all been buying XRP for the past couple of years. The price hasn't moved. Who really moves the prices of these assets are the big institutions, and the SEC and other regulators in the United States have been desperate to keep them out. But what we're seeing is the SEC is losing a lot of its bite at the same exact time that Ripple and other legitimate companies are really taking a stand, setting up and proving to Wall Street that they are ready for the big leagues. This is going to put a massive amount of positive attention on the cryptocurrency industry, and once Wall Street really gets a hold of what's actually going on at the big companies like Ripple, then they are going to be completely blown away with what's being built behind the scenes. I want to finish this video off and just show you a clip of all of Ripple's partners because I've already showed this before on my channel, but sometimes I just think it's quick videos like this showing who's actually behind Ripple, who's actually behind XRP. I think it makes it so much easier for you to just sit back and understand there are extremely powerful dynamics at play here behind the scenes. Sometimes you just got to sit back and let them play out. Listen up to this.
Former Minister of Defense and Economics of Germany, former business director at Swift, former Swift board member, former CFO of PayPal, former head of the DTCC, former chief business officer at Uber, former VP of Amazon, and former SEC chair on their legal team, Ripple, who's a member of the Digital Pound Foundation, Digital Dollar Project, Digital Euro Association, Mojaloop, IMF's high-level advisory board on fintech, Hyperledger Blockchain Consortium, Open Payments Coalition, Faster Payments Council, Global Payments Steering Group, Cross-Border Working Group, International Association for Trusted Blockchain Applications, Crypto Climate Accord, University Blockchain Initiative, Worldwide Web Consortium, and a featured partner of the World Economic Forum with 3 members of their team directly listed on the WF website, Ripple. Now, does Ripple and XRP sound like they're going to disappear, or do they sound like they're part of a much bigger plan? You decide.
In my opinion, there's not a more obvious investment out there than Ripple and XRP. Big money is still trying to catch up, but let me just say we are right around the corner from them being able to get involved in this industry and for them finding out about Ripple in a very big way. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for coming. I hope you enjoyed this update. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe. It really does mean so much. And for now, Mickle out.